Hi everyone, and welcome to my kitchen. It's Michelle Tam of Nom Nom Paleo, and today, like every Wednesday until I go on my book tour, I'll be coming here live from my kitchen and showing you how to cook something. And so today's recipe is the newest recipe on my blog and on our app. It's not in our new cookbook because we turned in the manuscript for our cookbook a few months ago. So anything new that we're posting is not in the cookbook, but I'm telling you, the cookbook is really, really awesome, and you guys should get one. So before I begin, I just wanted to give you a quick rundown of what Char Siu is, because a lot of you may not know what it is, but it is barbecue pork, and I have some here because I've made some. I have some more in the oven, and I'll also show you how to make the sauce and how to marinate it, but it's these, oh, it smells really good, but it's these sticky, sweet barbecue pork that you see hanging in a lot of Chinese barbecue restaurants. They're normally on hooks, and then they take them and they chop them up, and it's really tasty. But if you're paleo, you can't eat them because there's a lot of junky ingredients in the Char Siu that you buy at a barbecue shop, because hoisin sauce has gluten and tons of sugar and high fructose corn syrup and all sorts of weird chemicals. And so this was a dish that I missed a lot from my childhood. And not even from my childhood. I missed it from, you know, my days before when I would eat it all the time, before I went paleo in 2010. And I didn't think I could recreate this because I thought it was so dependent on hoisin. But in our new cookbook, which comes out August 1st, I actually developed a sun butter hoisin sauce. And so after I developed that hoisin sauce, I was like, oh, you know, I think I can probably figure out how to make a paleo version of Char Siu. So I'm going to show you how to make it and what I put in it to make it taste very similar to the stuff either your mom makes or what you can get at a barbecue shop. But there's no weird junky ingredients. In fact, it is Whole30 if you just do some small modifications. But all you do is, I will make the marinade first because you need the marinade to be cooked and cooled before you mix it with the pork. But before I start cooking it all, I'm going to just tell you how this Facebook Live works. So, Owen, my older son, hello.
Hi.
Stop. We'll ask questions. We'll read the questions that I can't see because I'm cooking. And then behind the scenes, Lauren Wade, who's the master builder behind the scenes of Nom Nom Paleo, will type answers to questions as fast as he can. And 3 people who participate during the live broadcast and ask a question or say hi or anything, just some way of commenting. 3 people will be randomly chosen, and they will get a signed early copy of our cookbook, Ready or Not, because we just got a batch of these yesterday in the mail. And so I will personally sign them. I'll have the rest of the family sign them and personalize them however you guys want. And we will send them out, and hopefully they'll arrive before August 1st. Which is the official release date of the cookbook. Yes, Owen?
So what brand of parchment paper do you use? Because Reynolds brand says no higher than 420.
Well, there is no parchment paper in this recipe. But I think, I Googled that because I think a lot of the parchment paper things will say like highest amount is like 425 or 500 or less than 500. This is just one I picked up at Whole Foods. This is their house brand, the 365. And this one is up to 425. But I think if you Google, because I Googled this, if you Google Cooks Illustrated or America's Test Kitchen and parchment paper, like what is the maximum temperature, I think there's an article that basically says you can totally do it at broiling temperature, which is normally like 475 or 500, and it isn't a problem. But you know, I don't use it in this recipe, so you don't have to worry about it in this recipe. And so I'm going to start. I can smell the Char Siu in the oven, and I'm making sure it's not burning. But I'm going to make the sauce. And so in my sauce, so the sauce should be like sweet and savory and a little bit sticky. It should be, well, it is red when you get it at the Chinese barbecue place, but I think they use some sort of food coloring. But mine is naturally red because of the ingredients I use. So what I have in here is I have some apricot jam that is 100% fruit sweetened. Actually, I'm going to turn this off because my induction cooktop cooks so fast. I'm going to wait. Actually, I'm going to unplug this so you guys can hear better. And then I will do that in a second. But this is the brand of jam that I buy. It's called Saint Dalfour. And it's 100% fruit. It's only sweetened with fruit juice. And the ingredients are apricots, fruit juice, fruit pectin, and lemon juice. So if you use this and you keep out the honey, it is Whole30 compliant.
If you eat jam in general, the strawberry one is very good.
It is really good, right? Yeah, they have a bunch of different ones. This brand in particular I think is really good. I've found it at a lot of stores. Like I went to like Whole Foods, and I think I saw it at Safeway, and you can buy it at New Season. So you can buy it at a lot of different places. You can also buy it on Amazon, but it may be a little bit more expensive on Amazon. And then I put 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. This gives it a red color, and it also adds umami. I'm going to add some coconut aminos. This coconut aminos, for those of you who don't know, it's a soy sauce replacement made from fermented coconut sap. And it tastes a lot like soy sauce, and it looks like soy sauce. It's a little bit sweeter, so I like to counteract that by adding a little bit of fish sauce. And then I add a tablespoon of almond butter. And the reason why I've kind of combined all these different things is the almond butter, in some ways, kind of mimics hoisin sauce. Because hoisin sauce, I think, has like some sort of fermented bean paste, and it also is like a thicker sauce. And so I think the almond butter really does kind of balance that. And if you can't do almond butter, sun butter works really well. And if you're allergic to sun butter and to almonds, like someone who emailed me, and you tolerate peanuts, you can do peanut butter, even though technically it's not, 100% paleo. But my whole thing is you just have to do what's right for you. And then I put a tablespoon of honey. Again, if you're doing a Whole30, you would leave that out. And then I'm going to put, I'm going to just check on I'm going to check on the char siu in the oven because I can smell it. It's like right, it's almost done.
So, where do you get the honey, and what type of honey is it?
Oh, it depends on whatever I have in my pantry, but the one I have, so I have all my ingredients here in case you guys are asking. This is some really raw honey that I bought, and it literally is called really raw honey. And I don't know why I bought it, I just bought it. I don't think that I think you just should try to buy good honey. But I'm not like a honey connoisseur. So this, I'm putting a teaspoon of red boat fish sauce. Oh, see, that's my oven telling me that stuff must be ready. So I'm going to just take out the one in there, and I'll continue making the sauce. Are there any questions while
Not really. Oh.
It's smoky in here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Da-da-da-da. So here are 2. I have some others that ooh, it's smoky in here. It's smoky because I added some water. I'll explain all the parts of how to cook it. So I have all the wet ingredients, and then I have half a teaspoon of 5-spice powder and half a teaspoon of ground ginger. And 5-spice powder, if you guys aren't familiar, this is the one I'm using. This is Primal Palette, now has a Chinese 5-spice powder. And it has fennel seeds, cinnamon, star anise, white pepper, and cloves. But it has a really distinctive smell, and it is a smell that smells like Chinese food.
So, could you make like a char siu chicken?
Char siu is chicken. Char siu is pork. No. I don't know. Oh, well, you know what you can do? This sauce I'm making is a really versatile sauce. So you can definitely put this sauce on anything you want. Like you can put it on, it's just a really good Chinese-y barbecue sauce. And so you can totally put it on chicken, but you can't call it char siu then because it's not char siu. It's just Chinese barbecue chicken.
I'm sorry.
No, whatever. All right, so I'm going to just heat this on medium. I'm going to use a whisk to whisk everything together. And as soon as it is all incorporated and bubbling, then it's ready.
So, for the hoisin,
Yes?
and wait, never mind.
What?
It was, what's your favorite brand of almond butter? And I was like, wait, isn't the hoisin like a sun butter?
Oh, I buy a bunch of different almond butters. I have Barney's, I buy Justin's. Me Nut Butter is also a really great nut butter company. Those are just to name a few. I think that Maranatha is also really great almond butter. And you can also just go to the store because there's some stores that like grind them on site. So this should only take like, depending on, this shouldn't take too long. But you want it smooth because this is something that you're going to be marinating your meat in. And then you're going to be brushing it on later. So you do want it smooth. So I would use a whisk to incorporate everything. Oh, so while I'm just stirring stuff here, I just wanted to announce that on my website, Nom Nom Paleo, if you go to nomnompaleo.com/events, you'll see that I added a whole bunch of new book tour events just last night because I'm traveling all over the country and to Toronto. But the dates that I just added are specifically for Northern California because I'll be doing a bunch of stops at Whole Foods markets. And then I think I may be coming down to San Diego and Phoenix, but I'm still finalizing those details. Yes?
So, someone's red boat fish sauce has like flakes in it, so does that mean that it's safe to use, or do you think that...
It should be. Sometimes there's stuff that crystallizes at the bottom, and it should be okay. I mean, if that's what she's talking about, that is totally normal and a natural product that can happen in there, but it shouldn't be a problem.
But if there's like, I think if there's like probably just like flakes of stuff inside of it that you can see, then...
But it could just be little crystals in there, and then it's okay.
Okay.
I think it's, well, I don't know. I don't know how you're storing it or how clean it is, like when you're measuring it, but if you haven't contaminated it and it's pretty new, it should, I don't think it's a problem. So you can see here, it's bubbly and it's totally smooth. So I'm going to try this because you guys should always taste everything that you are cooking. I mean, obviously at a point when it's safe to taste stuff, just to make sure everything tastes okay. Yeah, this is good. It's like tangy and savory, and it has that kind of that undertone of the almond. I think it's good. So you would leave this to cool. So this part you can make up to like 4 days ahead until you're ready to roast the char siu. And I made some ahead here, and I kept it in the fridge so I could show you the rest of this part. And so when you are ready to cook the char siu, you have to get some meat for it. So the cut that you need to buy is a boneless pork shoulder roast, or a, it's also called Boston butt. You can buy it bone-in, but then you have to cut out the bone. So if you buy it boneless, it's already done for you. So I had bone-in pork shoulder that I had to cut up earlier. So what I have here is actually a half portion of what it is. So this is only 1.5 pounds. You can see here that I've just cut strips that are, you know, pretty close to the same size. And, you know, there's no, I mean, I say that it should be about 2 inches. And then the width should be about the same. And it's not imperative that you have exactly 2 inches for your pork shoulder, but it is important that you have similar sized pieces of pork. Or, like, I didn't have similar sized pieces of pork. You'll have to take out the smaller pieces earlier. So this is 1.5 pounds. I asked for 3 pounds in the recipe because the 3 pounds serves 8 people. But I have a bunch of pork left over, so I'm going to show you the steps on how to marinate this. So if you have the whole 3 pounds, you should use 2 teaspoons of diamond crystal kosher salt. Because I have half, I'm just going to use 1 teaspoon, and I'm just going to salt it gonna toss it. And this part, just like the sauce, you can salt up to like 2 or 3 days ahead until you're ready to make this. Or you can do it right before. It's not a big deal because you're gonna have to let it marinate in the sauce for at least 2 hours anyway, so it's totally okay. Yes?
So, a few questions about the meat.
Yes.
So, what was it? Sorry.
I know. I bet I can get. I know a question. Can you use pork tenderloin? Is that one?
No, but answer away.
So I have gotten that question. So you could use pork tenderloin. Traditionally, pork shoulder is the one that's used in, Chinese barbecue shops because it is a fattier cut, and so it tastes better. With pork tenderloin, because it is so lean, you do need to make sure that you don't overcook it. So I actually have the recommendation for the cooking time in one of my comments below the post on my blog post. So I recommend that you cook pork tenderloin. You can marinate it just like this. You can salt it and then put on the sauce and then cook it at 300 degrees Fahrenheit until the internal temperature reaches 145. And that could take, depending on how big your pork tenderloin is, could take like an hour. And then once it hits 145, you would brush on the marinade and then you crank the heat up to broil to char the outside. And as soon as it's charred, you let it rest maybe 5-10 minutes and then you can slice it up and that should work. It won't be quite as tasty as pork shoulder because pork shoulder is nicely marbled with a lot of fat. And so it's tastier.
So, could you make this recipe with like different kinds of meat besides pork, like with the sauce and stuff?
You can definitely use the sauce as like a alternative barbecue sauce. I don't think that the cooking time will be similar because the cooking time and the technique is specific for using pork shoulder, which is a tougher cut. I think if you were to use it on, say, chicken, to roast chicken, I would probably salt and pepper your chicken. I would roast it in the oven the way you normally do, like 400 degrees for about like 40 minutes until it's almost done. Oh, hi, Ollie. Hi. And then you can brush on the sauce, and then you can continue broiling it for another 5-10 minutes, or you can cook it at 400. But that's kind of how I would do it. It is a pretty sweet sauce. Not super sweet, like a traditional super sweet sauce, but because there is honey in there and there is the sugar from the jam, the naturally occurring sugars, it will burn. And so that's why I kind of have a 2-step cooking process for this. So once your sauce, yes, Owen?
So,
yes, Ollie?
Oh.
Do you want to help me? Yeah, go, yes. I'll answer your question and then I'll have Ollie.
Okay, so do you trim off the fat from the meat?
I only trim the fat. Let's say you get a butt roast and it has like kind of a fat cap on the top. I trim that, but I don't trim into the internal fat. Like I want the stuff that's all ribbed inside. All right, so I'm going to, you know how you can help me? So you want to use the room temperature or chilled sauce, and before you add it, you're going to reserve at least a 1/3 cup. So this is half a recipe, so this is like a very generous 1/3 cup. Here, you want to help me pour this in? You don't have to, I know Ollie doesn't like to touch raw meat, so here, you want to just push this in?
So when is the next podcast episode?
That's a good question. I don't know. Not for a while, only because, as we've said before, it's really, really, really time consuming for us to do. And Henry has another job. We have our book launch and our book tour. So we might record stuff on our book tour.
Yeah. That
we will, post later, but I'm not sure. We're going to even be doing a hiatus. Oh, thank you. And we're even going to do you want to use your hands mixed around? No. We're actually going to probably do a hiatus on these Facebook Lives because I'm going to be traveling. And
so
I don't know if I can
we could probably do like a book tour podcast.
Yeah, Owen and Ollie are into. They want to keep doing the podcast because they really like it. And I was like, you guys should just do your own podcast. And then your dad could teach you how to like edit stuff and all that hard stuff, and then you could help me. So I'm just using my hands to coat everything, and then you just cover this, and then you would put it in the fridge to marinate for 2 to 24 hours. And then when you're done, I'm going to show you, when you're ready to cook it, I will show you how to assemble it. And I know I'm washing my hands like a million times, but after working in a hospital for like 14 years, I'm always washing my hands.
So, do me and Ollie cook?
I don't know, you can answer that.
No.
No, not really. Okay.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, you guys just are like little princes waiting for mommy to cook all your meals for you.
Hey.
Just kidding. But it is kind of true. Okay, so I have like, let's say this meat has been marinating in your fridge for 2 to 4 hours. You would preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit with the rack in the middle. And then you would get a baking sheet. And then I love, love, love these stainless steel wire racks. They are not a sponsor at all. I think they're really cool because they're totally oven proof, and you can have super high temperatures. They're super sturdy, so you can totally scrub them and throw them in the dishwasher. But what's so great about them is it elevates your food, and it also allows the hot air to kind of circulate. So I think that it totally cooks your food a lot more evenly.
So how many times does your family have to eat the same meals for you to perfect the recipe?
Hey, you guys can answer that. Ollie, how many times have you had Char Siu?
Like 4.
At least.
At least. But for wonton meatballs, it was like 15.
You know, and I probably only serve it for dinner 4 times, but I am eating it the rest of the time. Like, I'm probably eating it breakfast and lunch and snack, and so I'm sick of it.
That's what usually happens.
All right, so this is only, again, so I put the rack, and then you lay your pieces on, and this is pretending that it's been marinating for 2 hours. So you pop it in a 350 degree oven. You set the timer for 30 minutes, but at the 15-minute mark, you use tongs and you flip them over. See, you can just pretend that it's like more cooked. And then you take it out of the oven, and we're gonna pretend that this is, only because I don't wanna have like 20 servings of Char Siu. I didn't show every step, sorry. Okay, so this is, like, we'll pretend this has been in the oven for 30 minutes at 350 degrees. We've already flipped it over at the 15-minute mark. And so now we're gonna bump up the temperature of your oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And all of these instructions are on the blog. Don't worry, you don't have to furiously write notes. I'm just describing them to you. So you increase the temperature to 400. These will look a little bit more cooked, but they are not ready to eat. And so then you would use your reserved marinade, because we set aside a 1/3 cup, and then you would brush on half of it, and you would add a little bit of water to the bottom of the pan. And the reason why you add a little bit of water is, and you actually add about a cup, I think, to fully cover the bottom, is because, as I said before, this is a sweet marinade, because it's got the jam and the honey. And so when it drips, you don't want it to burn, and so the water keeps it from burning. And also, I think that the steam, I mean, I was reading different ways to cook Char Siu, and some people were saying that the steam that is created also helps cook it properly.
I think it helps with like the overall texture or something. I
Sure.
could just be making this up. I don't know.
And so then this, you would have to carefully move back to your 400 degree oven, because there was some water on the bottom, and you've brushed on some reserved marinade. You cook it for like 25 minutes, and then you flip it over and you brush marinade on the other side, and then you cook for another 20 to 25 minutes until it is nice and brown. So I'm just gonna move this, because this still needs to marinate.
So, at this point where it's like marinated but uncooked, could you freeze it?
Marinated and uncooked. You know what? I don't have a ton of experience with cooking stuff from frozen when it's raw. Like, I whenever I kind of have leftovers, it's already cooked that I put in the freezer. I'm not sure if it changes the texture too much. If anyone does try it, I would love for you guys to leave, your results in the comments for that blog post, but I'm not totally sure. I think it should be okay, but I'm not totally sure. So I'm going to show you the finished product.
So could you grill this recipe?
You could grill this recipe if you can control the temperature. Like if you can start off low at 350 for like 30 minutes and then crank it up and know the temperature, then I think you could. You just need to make sure that you don't burn it. My mom always made it in the oven, so that's why I made it in the oven.
So
try these? You can try these.
if you have like
Please
a
tell
gas,
everyone your honest opinion.
okay. So if you have a gas oven, will that change the recipe in any way?
I don't think so. I mean, the difference I think between a gas and electric oven is an electric oven is normally just a little bit more even. But otherwise, you should be able to use a gas oven. We have a gas oven at our place in Oregon, and so I tested on electric and gas.
So how do you get your wire racks so clean?
I buy new ones every time. Just kidding. No, what I do is, and I've shown a lot of people my technique for this. Oh, I'll show you guys right here with this dirty one right here. So I'm going to move this over. And I'll show you how to slice. So this is the resulting pork. You can see that you do want char on the edges. And people say, what's the final temperature of the pork? I mean, it's going to be beyond the safe cooking temperature for pork. And pork you can eat at about 145. You can actually eat pork safer at a lower temperature than beef. But I think people are always afraid of, eating raw pork because of trichinosis. But the risk of trichinosis is actually not super high. So I'm going to show you how to clean the wire rack. So this is a super filthy and gross wire rack. And actually, this can is grosser. I probably should have added a little extra water, but I didn't. And so what I do is I'm going to just flip it upside down like this. And so the little, what are those grids?
The things.
The grid part is flat against the bottom of the rim baking sheet. This is just normal dishwasher detergent. I put it in a squeeze bottle because, I don't know, I think it's a fun way to, it makes cleaning dishes that much better. And so then I'm going to remove all this stuff. And then I just soak it in this position with some hot soapy water. Remove all this. And I just leave it while I'm eating. And so depending on how long you're eating, I'm going to get this hot. And so you just get this all soapy. And you make sure that the water level is high enough so that everything is covered. And after it's been soaking, if after, say, an hour, it's still really gross and, there's like all this baked on stuff, then all you do is you just leave it overnight. And then overnight, after, say, 9-10 hours, it should come off pretty easily. And because they're stainless steel, I use just the scrubby side of my sponge and I just scrub off all the big stuff. And then I throw it in the dishwasher, and it's totally dishwasher safe because it's stainless steel. The other type of wire rack that you can buy are the chrome covered wire racks, and the chrome on the outside can flake off if you are, putting it in a hot dishwasher or whatever. So I'm going to show you how to cut this. So you want it to cut against the grain, and if I'm looking at this, I can never tell exactly. And when you don't know, sometimes you just have to do it at an angle. Do you want to try one? You can tell us exactly. Like it? You just saying that? You promise? I'll pay you later. Just kidding. Want to try one on?
Sure.
And so this, you can, all you do now is you slice it up. But my mom used to buy this not this Char Siu, but she would buy Char Siu at a barbecue place. And this was like her emergency protein. That's pretty good. This is pretty good for no sugar or no refined sugar, no gluten, no weird stuff. I mean, I think it tastes pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So,
Uh-huh.
there's a ton of questions.
Oh, good.
So if you use chicken, how long would you cook it?
So if you use chicken, how long would you cook it? So it depends what kind of chicken. If you're trying to make some sort of barbecue chicken, and my favorite kind, as always, is chicken thighs with bone-in skin on. I would salt and pepper the chicken. I would put it on a wire rack. I would set the oven for 400. And then I would cook it for about 40 minutes, flipping it over at the halfway point where it's skin side up. Then I would brush on the sauce, and I would bake it again for 400 for maybe 10 minutes, and then I'd kick on broil to broil the top of it. But I think you can use it you would use it just like any other barbecue sauce. So however you would cook whatever, like you could have a super plain piece of meat, and then you can brush on this sauce. It's a really tasty sauce.
So what do you serve this with?
Tonight all I have in my fridge is I think carrots and a few heads of lettuce and some cucumbers. So I think we're serving it with a salad. But if you want it to be traditional, like you could stir fry some bok choy or stir fry some Asian greens. You could just roast broccoli. I mean, whatever. We always just serve it with vegetables. And so you can see here, like, even though in my blog post I said how, you had to make them all uniform. Well, sometimes when you get a boneless pork shoulder roast, it's got all these weird pieces in there. So you do the best you can. So I have these two little ones that look like this. And so all I did was I just took them out of the oven a little earlier, and you'll be fine. And you can do the same thing. So I'm just going to continue cutting this. If I'm just saving this because I have all this extra, it totally freezes well. Like you can totally keep it in the keep in the fridge for probably up to 4 days, and then you can freeze it for several months. But if you're gonna freeze it, I would keep it intact like this and freeze it like this, because when it's cut up and there's more exposed surface area, it can dry out easier. You can get freezer burn.
So, where do you get the pan
good.
that you put the wire rack over?
You just, okay. I think I buy almost everything on Amazon because I'm lazy and I don't like to leave the house. But like this one, I don't even know which one this is, but they're like $9, $10. I just buy the highest rated half sheet rimmed baking sheet. You want another piece? This is actually really good. So in terms of the different types of jam, I've tried it with this brand, the St. Dalfour, but I've tried it with apricot, peach, and their plum. And all three are really good. But I like the apricot the best because I like things that are a little bit tangy. And I tried this recipe with like adding different amounts of vinegar and different types of vinegar. And that only made it smell really terrible. But by using the apricot jam, you get the tang without the stink.
So
Here, I'll give you guys a close-up of the meat. Can you guys see? It is really good. You guys should try it.
So would you recommend reheating it if you froze it?
Oh, yeah. You can totally reheat it. So the way that, like, our moms reheat it is they just wrap it up in aluminum foil and they pop it in, like, a 300-degree oven until it's warmed through. Then they open up the aluminum foil and then they'll broil it to kind of give it some of the crispiness at the end. But traditionally, I don't know if traditionally, but what my mom would do all the time is, like, let's say she had leftover Char Siu, which she always had in the fridge. She would just cut it up in, like, thin slices or just cut it up in cubes. And then she would throw it into a bunch of things. Like, she would throw it into egg scramble. She would throw it into fried rice. There's a recipe that I'm going to be developing, which is like a cold noodle, but I won't be using noodles, obviously, because it's paleo. And you would just use leftover char siu. And char siu actually tastes pretty good cold, but you can heat it up. You can slice it up, you can quickly stir fry it, or you could bake it the way I mentioned earlier. Yes?
So what would happen if you made this recipe with like a strawberry jam?
I don't know. I mean, it would be kind of strawberryer than this, and it would be very seedy. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know that there's ever strawberry in Chinese food. Right? I don't think so.
Are there strawberries in China?
I mean, now there are, but I mean, I'm sure it would taste fine. I mean, it's a fruit. You can try it. But if you can find apricot, if not apricot, you should go peach or plum. I think cherry would also work well, but I'm not sure about strawberry or raspberry, just because I think the seed situation would not work. Yes?
So, what kind of cooking pans do you use?
It depends. I can dig through this. So this is like, I have a few Le Creuset, which is kind of enameled cast iron. I have like an assortment of stuff. I use cast iron, like plain old cast iron a lot. That's probably my go-to. This one right here is my go-to pan. I mean, it's dirty, but it's my go-to pan to fry the kids' eggs and my eggs in the morning. This one is super well seasoned because I've been using it for many, many years. And so nothing sticks to it. And so our stuff in Portland is not quite so seasoned. So it's been frustrating when I've been up there working on recipes and stuff sticks. So I just remind myself, though, that if I am just persistent and I keep at it, it will eventually be well seasoned. So those of you who are frustrated with your cast iron and having it not be seasoned enough because you just bought it or it's been a few weeks, just keep at it. Keep cooking and it'll be fine.
What about freezing the sauce without the meat?
Oh, you can totally do that. You can totally do that. And I recommend it. But it, as you see, when I made it, it takes like no time. It literally takes 5 minutes. But you can totally freeze it. And I would freeze it in ice molds. Oh, hello. We have a visitor. Like, with crazy hair. I'm hungry. You're my little burger, huh? All right. So, yes?
So, will it, the char siu still have the same flavor if you make it with like Whole30 ingredients as opposed to what you made just now?
So the only difference between what I just made and a Whole30 version is you would leave out the 1 tablespoon of honey because this fruit sweetened jam is actually very Whole30 compliant. I double checked with Melissa and it is Whole30 compliant because there's no weird stuff in it. You can have stuff that's sweetened with fruit. The difference is just the 1 tablespoon of honey, and so it won't be quite as sweet. But even this is not super sweet. I mean, you want like a nice balance of sweet and savory. So I like to add an extra tablespoon of honey. But if you're Whole30, I don't think you'll miss it. All right, so.
So, can we get a preview of like some Asian recipes in your book?
Oh, yes. Let me move this aside because I don't want to get our book off. Oh, again, so if any of you guys are commenting, keep commenting because 3 of you will win a super early copy of our Ready or Not cookbook, and all 4 of us will scribble in it, personalize it however you want. We'll send it anywhere in the world depending on where Lauren picks it because it'll be super random. And I think, do we have 3 calendars? Then we'll send you a calendar too. The calendar is actually out right now. It is a 16-month calendar, so it starts in September, but you know, you could even wait till January to start it. But it's a super fun calendar. It has stickers, and it'll be a daily reminder to cook food. But the initial question was, what are some Asian-inspired recipes in here? So for those of you who don't know, this cookbook, Ready or Not, 150 make ahead, make over, and make now recipes is broken up by your state of readiness. So in the first part, in the ready section, We tell you how to stock your kitchen with tools and, you know, pantry items that will ensure cooking success. Talk about how much I like pressure cooking, but this book is not a pressure cooker cookbook. I have 12 Instant Pot recipes in here. For some people, that's too little. For others, that's too much. But for all 12 of those recipes, there are alternative cooking methods. So you don't need an Instant Pot. And if you do have an Instant Pot, I'm sorry that I don't have more in here. But they're really good Instant Pot recipes. So then I'm going to talk about all the stuff that you fill your belly with. And there are lots and lots of cartoons in here of, you know, the kids, and you guys are saying funny jokes.
Great.
And then in the ready section, I have a bunch of recipes for stuff that will prepare you for success, like dressings and marinades that you can keep in your fridge for up to a week. And so the whole week you can use it to kind of throw into different things. Like I have tomato sauce. My favorite vinaigrette. We have XO sauce. This is a traditional Chinese spicy condiment that we made paleo, which is really good. We couldn't not put Nom Nom sriracha in here, so we kept it in here. This is probably one of, say, 10 recipes maybe out of 150 that are repeats, but these are like classics that we thought that people should have in here. Oh, we have this sun butter hoisin sauce, so you can make a hoisin sauce that tastes pretty darn close to the jarred stuff, and it's nut-free and junk-free. Gochujang is actually our fake gochujang, which is not Chinese, but it's Korean.
Can you show them my favorite recipe?
Oh, your favorite recipe would be always crackling chicken?
So,
Always crackling chicken is in Chinese, though.
I know.
But I would put it in here, because we did rename it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we have a Chinese chicken in a pot, which is a rendition of a dish that my grandma used to make, which is her steamed white chicken, but I show you how to make it in an Instant Pot and also in a slow cooker and conventionally in the oven.
So
Oh, I think.
sorry.
But Ollie's Crackling Chicken is in the not ready section. So these recipes in the red section are emergency fast food that tastes good. And it all takes 45 minutes or less. Some only take 15 minutes or less. And you don't need any pre-made ingredients. Where is your recipe in here? Ollie's Crackling Chicken. Where are you?
So,
Oh, right here.
yeah.
You put the bookmark here.
I put the bookmark here. Oh, and we'll send whoever wins will also get a bunch of Nom Nom Paleo swag. And all this swag we're going to be doling out at our book tour events. Like we have stickers and magnets. We're going to give away some calendars. I might throw in some action figures and socks. So whatever is in our garage will be brought on tour. But we renamed it Ollie's Crackling Chicken because Ollie loves this crackling chicken. But you can see here that every single recipe is kind of filled out comic book form where there's a picture for every single step and a little, little blurb about what to do. And so I will be holding your hand the whole time you cook out of this cookbook. Oh, and then the orange kind of ready section is stuff like if you've had some sauces or some chicken or something, I tell you how to transform them into leftover makeovers or cool new dishes. No. Okay,
It's back.
I think I'm back. And this time we didn't do all sorts of crazy stuff when we thought the camera was down. So the question was, am I going to make a Cantonese roast duck paleo version of it? And I've been thinking about it. And my good friend, Gregory Gourdet, he's the executive chef at Departure Restaurant in Portland, where we are having a really cool book event on September 3rd, right? Mm-hmm. He does this amazing duck dinner, which I know is gluten-free. So maybe I'll pick his brain about how he makes his duck. And I can figure out how to make roast duck, because roast duck really is one of my favorite Cantonese dishes. But I know that there's all sorts of weird stuff that I can't eat normally in it. So I will have to figure it out. I know it's got 5 spice, and that's about it.
So, does the cookbook specify how you can make each recipe Whole30 compliant?
Yes, so at the end of our cookbook, so we have 150 recipes total, or 150 plus, but at the very end there is a recipe index, and it will show you that over, I think, 120 of the recipes are naturally Whole30 friendly. And the only, like for some of these, the only thing you have to take out is like a little bit of honey, which is optional. And then the things that are obviously desserts, we did not make Whole30.
So
But there's a lot. This is like 89%. 89%?
I don't know.
I don't know. It is very close to being like very Whole30 friendly.
So, who made the layout for this cookbook?
Oh! Who made the layout for this cookbook? Who designed the whole book? Your father. So Henry, my husband, is, in his real life, he's an attorney and he works like a real job, like really long hours, and then he comes home, and then I crack the whip and I make him do all sorts of cool stuff for Nom Nom Paleo. So he designed this whole book, from the cover to these end pages, like everything. He designed this whole book, the whole layout, these cartoons he draws, because he's been drawing me as a cartoon since college. He does all the cartoons, he did all of the layout, and so if you love the design, it's all Henry.
So, will Costco be selling the new cookbook?
Why, yes, they are. I'm not. I think on August 1st. I hope, which is the day it's released. It will be available in all Costco stores. I think. I hope. That's what our publisher told us. But if you want to pre-order now, we have a thank you bonus for those of you who have pre-ordered our book that will be coming down when the book comes out, because you guys trust us and have supported us. We wanted to thank you, and so the 2 pre-order bonuses are a really cool 40-something page ebook called One and Done, which is all one pan, one pot, or one dish recipes. And then you also get a 50-page preview of Ready or Not, and it includes a bunch of recipes in there so you can try them out. Are you sneaking food?
So, who designed the swag for this cookbook?
Henry! Henry does everything. So if anything happens to Henry, I am in so much trouble. So that's why I feed Henry paleo, so he will stay healthy. And I want him to meditate, because then it'll bring down his stress level. Yes, is there any other questions?
Yep. So
I'm going to have our dear friend Lauren, who will be coming with me on our tour when we go through Texas. You'll meet Lauren. If you go to any of those book tour events, you'll meet him when we go from Austin to Dallas to Houston. I think that's no? Do I go to Dallas, Austin, Houston? Yes. Okay. But Lauren will be with us, and he will be driving, because I'm not the best driver. And you'll see us at the whole family at a bunch of the events too. So when we are in Beaverton, in Seattle, in Chicago, and Denver, and Minneapolis,
San Francisco,
and the local stuff, the whole family will be there. And my sister will be with me for part of it too. So we're going to have Lauren pick the 3 winners. And then whoever you are, make sure that you contact us either, because I think Lauren contacts everybody who wins. But if you guys aren't friends on Facebook, sometimes it's stuck in the other category. But he always contacts everybody. I try to ping everybody, because there are a few times where people win and then they don't contact us and we can't send you your loot. But 3 people are going to win a signed copy of our book, plus a calendar, because I think we have extra calendars, and then whatever swag I can fit in for you guys. Any other questions?
So, can you use like a guava jam for this recipe?
I think so. But it may be hard to find a guava jam that is 100% fruit sweetened. I don't know if St. Dalfour has a guava jam, but St. Dalfour, which is a brand I like, and there's other brands, but this one's my favorite, 100% fruit sweetened one. They have a whole lineup of flavors.
And have you tried this recipe with brisket?
I have not tried it with brisket. I've only tried it with pork shoulder because that is how you make it for, char siu. But I'm telling you, this sauce is just a great barbecue sauce with some Asian flavors. So you can use it the way you would use any barbecue sauce. So who are the 3 winners? And so you should definitely tell us too how you want the book personalized and whether it's okay that all 4 of us deface your book.
Okay, so we have Ki Nguyen, Anne DeRitter, and Pyong Lee.
Yay! Congratulations! And if one of you 3 have already pre-ordered, thank you very much. You can give that as a gift because it makes a great gift. Okay, so I think that's it. Thank you guys for tuning in. And we need some char siu. I'll throw together a salad because that's all we have.
Crumbs.
And then that's it. Bye guys. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.